All right, let's talk about a book that is, and I mean this, an absolute whirlwind. We're diving into Gabriel García Márquez's masterpiece, 100 Years of Solitude.
So think about that for a second. This isn't just some random what if. It's the actual prophecy, the curse, really, that hangs over the Buendía family for 7 generations. It traps them in this incredible looping story of love, war, and a fate they just can't seem to escape.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. We'll start with the myth of Macondo, then get into the family's curse of repetition. We'll look at how history echoes tragically, the inescapable solitude at the core of it all, and finally, how that prophecy gets fulfilled. Let's jump in.
So, first up, the myth of Macondo. This is a world of both wonder and, well, some serious warning signs. It all starts with the founding of this town, Macondo. It's meant to be a paradise, totally cut off from the rest of the world and its problems. But it's built on this one really strange fear.
And what's that fear? That their children will be born with a pig's tail. Yeah, you heard that right. See, the founders, José Arcadio Buendía and his wife Ursula, they're cousins. And that forbidden, incestuous relationship kicks off this deep-seated anxiety that literally haunts the family for a century.
Now, to really wrap your head around Macondo, you need to get this key concept, magical realism. Basically, it's a literary style where the most bizarre, fantastical things happen and everyone just treats it like it's a normal Tuesday. The line between what's real and what's magic, it's completely blurred.
And, look at this stuff. In Macondo, you've got ghosts casually chatting with the living. A woman literally floats up to heaven while she's folding laundry. There's an insomnia plague that makes everyone forget everything. And gypsies just show up with magnets and ice like it's the latest tech. It's this mix of the totally bizarre with the totally normal that makes this world so magical.
Okay, Section 2, A Curse of Repetition. We're looking at the two sides of the Buendía coin here. Let's zoom in on the family itself and see how this curse of repeating history plays out, especially with their names.
So, check this out. The family's fate is basically spelled out in their names. It's like there are only 2 models of Buendía men. You've got the José Arquiotes. They're strong, impulsive, passionate guys, really tied to the physical world. Then you have the Aurelianos. They're the complete opposite. Introspective, solitary, intelligent, kind of detached from it all. And this just repeats generation after generation. It's like they're locked into these roles from birth.
And the most famous of all the Aurelianos is this guy, Colonel Aureliano Buendía. He starts out as this quiet, introverted kid and ends up becoming this legendary revolutionary leader. He fights in a ton of civil wars and becomes this huge symbol of the endless, kind of pointless cycle of war and politics.
And get this, during all those campaigns, he fathers 17 sons. 17. All with different women all across the country. This guy is surrounded by people, right? Followers, family. You'd think he'd be the least lonely person on earth.
But he died alone. Totally and completely alone. Despite all the fame, all the power, all those kids, he's trapped in this deep, inescapable solitude. And that, right there, is the core problem for the whole Buendía family. They just can't seem to truly connect with anyone.
All right, next up, history's tragic echo. We're talking about the rise and fall of the town itself. Because here's the thing, this tragic family cycle, it's a perfect mirror of what happens to Macondo. The town's story is the family story, just on a much bigger stage.
You can see it right here. Macondo starts as this isolated utopia. Then bam, civil wars drag it into the conflict. After that, a foreign banana company shows up, bringing what looks like progress and money, but that progress turns out to be a kind of Trojan horse, leading straight to decay and ruin.
And that progress comes with a horrifying price tag. The banana workers go on strike, asking for basic rights, and the government's response is to massacre them. Thousands of them, right in the town square. It's an absolutely brutal moment, and it's actually based on a real historical event in Colombia.
But here's where it gets even more chilling. After the massacre, a survivor tries to tell everyone what he saw, what happened. And the official story he gets back is, well, it's something else.
Nothing happened. That's it. The government just denies it, the company denies it, they wipe it from the official records, literally erase it from history. It's an incredible, powerful statement about how trauma can be buried and how truth can just be rewritten. Okay, so this brings us to our 4th point, the inescapable solitude. This is the family's core wound.
You see how all this stuff, the violence, the repetition, the deliberate forgetting, it all funnels into one central theme, this deep, all-consuming solitude.
I mean, this quote really nails it. Solitude is both their punishment and their destiny. Think about it. From the patriarch José Arcadio, who ends up tied to a tree, completely lost in his own head, to the famous colonel, lost in his endless wars. Every single Buendía is just fundamentally, heartbreakingly alone. And it's wild, because even love becomes a form of isolation for them. They can't seem to build real, healthy connections, so instead, they're driven to these super intense, forbidden passions, which often means falling for their own family members. This just reinforces that whole cycle of incest and solitude that started everything.
And that leads us to the grand finale. Section 5, the prophecy fulfilled. We're finally going to decipher this century of fate. We're with the last generation of the Buendía family, living in this crumbling house, about to uncover the secret that ties it all together. So, the last Buendía, another Aureliano, isolates himself in the decaying house. He becomes obsessed with deciphering these ancient manuscripts left by a gypsy named Melquiades a century ago. And when he finally cracks the code, he discovers something mind-blowing. The manuscripts don't just predict the future. They contain the entire history of his family, every single detail, written down before any of it even happened. Their whole lives were already written.
And right as he's figuring this out, he has a child with his aunt, not even realizing who she is. This love affair closes the incestuous loop that started the whole story. And their baby is born with a pig's tail. The family's very first fear becomes their final, tragic reality.
And in the exact moment that the last Aureliano finishes reading the manuscripts, the moment he finally understands everything, the prophecy comes true. A massive, hurricane-like wind picks up and completely erases Macondo from existence. The town, the house, the family, everything is just gone, wiped off the map as if it was never even there.
So the book leaves us with this haunting question. If your history shapes your future, how do you ever break the cycle? The novel basically says that for a family like the Buendías, there are no second chances. And it makes you wonder, right? Are we all kind of living in our own versions of Macondo, doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past over and over until we finally wake up and understand them?